Hey guys, it's Lauren. I'm gonna do another video, and in this video I'm talking about why does it look like I like medical attention. Okay, so for most of you all that don't know me, I'm diagnosed on the autism spectrum, and I was diagnosed with it at a time when it was poorly understood, which was back in 1987 when I was 5. It was called pervasive developmental delay back then. So most of my life I've suffered from benign but yet debilitating conditions, my autism included. And the big ones here, besides my autism, are my bladder problem called interstitial cystitis. And when I got older, I started showing symptoms of endometriosis, and that's a very frustrating and often painful condition to deal with too. And these two conditions, they're not life-threatening, but they're very painful to deal with. I also have chronic pain too. So every time that I got sick with any virus when I was in elementary school, basically all through my school years, I wasn't allowed to skip class unless I was super sick. One time I thought I was getting a stomach virus in 7th grade. And I remember it was right around 11 o'clock, and I got an intense urge to throw up. Thought I was going to, swore I was. So why would anybody want to stay at school if they're going to throw up? Because I don't like watching other people throw up, and I didn't want nobody watching me throw up if I was going to be sick. I assumed that I was catching a stomach bug and needed to go home for the day. So I called my aunt to come and get me because my mom and dad worked at the time. So my aunt that lived across the road had to come and get me, which she always did if one of us ever needed anything at school. So I got home, rested up for about an hour or so, felt better. So when my dad and my mom found out what happened, they were really frustrated with me. And that sort of scared me away from skipping out on anything unless it were a serious problem. On that day, I guess they thought that I was just wanting to skip school because I was just maybe too stressed to go to school. I don't know. But anytime that I did have to stay home from school for any reason, it was almost like a relief because I felt so much pressure from strict teachers, pressure to act socially acceptable, meaning like act my age all the time, and don't let my sensory issues show, and my severe separation anxiety. And I rarely ever skip school except for my many medical appointments. I will say this, number 2, when I was near the end of 5th grade, I had some thoughts that I've never told my mom before, and I'm going to tell you guys these. I knew that I was different from other children, and I perceived myself as unliked. So because of my social stuff, it really affected my ability to be happy with my life and to be happy with myself and to feel accepted for anything. And I started having these feelings not because I wanted to be sick in any way, but because I wanted to make other people happy. And I knew that just ending my life was wrong. So I secretly hoped that I would be diagnosed with cancer so I could die when I was in 5th grade. But I did not want that. And I just thought that I was a burden to everybody else because I was raised in church, And being raised in church, I was taught the 10 Commandments, and one of them was do not kill. And that was one of the reasons that I had those thoughts of wanting to get cancer so I could hurry up and leave this world. I felt like I was not worthy, and I felt that those that were always frustrated with me would not be sad if I did get cancer and pass away. But also, on the flip side, I was always a health nut, a researcher about everything health related. And I wanted to have the best of everything, including my health. And when I got old enough, which was right around middle school age, I always asked doctors about any concerns I had about my health. And Mom and Dad kind of acted like they got annoyed with it. Now, the sensory issues that can go on in your body, that can scare an autistic person. And it can almost look like they're being a typical hypochondriac when they're so in tune to their body on everything. And I don't look at that as a bad thing, because in yoga, we teach people to be in tune to their bodies and to do what their body feels is best. I experienced panic attacks since middle school that would just happen like out of the blue. I went through a phase of thinking that I may have caused my problems that made me very fearful of doing anything that could worsen my mental health. But I later learned that this type of autism and other types of autism are stuff that you're born with. So in conclusion, please be kind to autistic people. Show reassurance and support. And if you have any concerns or notice that your child mentions any symptoms, do speak up and get checked out regardless.